Nothing excites me more than a series of good development on prospects. The LA Kings have sort of been in the forefront of this type of mold with guys on their blue line, guys like Arthur Kaliyev, guys like Gabe Vilardi, really taking their time to develop and actually become effective NHL players. Now, there are two other players that I wanted to talk about here in this video that have had a whole bunch of hype behind their names, but who've been slowed down in more ways than one off the ice. Let's talk today about some top LA Kings prospects. 5th overall in 2019, Alex Turcotte, as well as 2nd overall in 2020, QUINTON BYFIELD. Now, the reason we're talking about these two guys is because if you go over to their games played for 2022-2023, you'll notice that Byfield is down to 8 games on the season, and Turcotte, I mean, the guy hasn't played a single game all year. Part of this, in the case of Turcotte, for example, is because of stuff suffered last year. For Byfield, it was a newer development, so without further ado, let's go over to mayorsmanor.com and go over the update on these two guys, as well as what I think about their profiles heading into the next few weeks over here. Take a look at this article published on November 5th by John Hoven. Updated news: Byfield is down and Turcotte is close. Pretty much what Hoven writes about is what happened with these two guys and expected recovery times as well. Both of the Kings prospects, Byfield and Turcotte, are preparing for their next steps towards a return to actual game action. When it comes to Turcotte, originally selected in the 2019 draft, his health and well-being continue to be a top priority. Life away from the rink will always be far more important than what happens on the ice. However, after visiting with multiple doctors, including a top specialist in Utah, things continue to trend in the right direction for the 21-year-old forward. We first reported that Turcotte would be returning to practice about 3 weeks ago, and even though he has shown steady improvements, from what we're hearing now, he is on the brink of being cleared for game action. As noted by Rob Blake, he gave us the update saying that Turcotte has been dealing with a concussion injury that was sustained at the end of last year, before going on to say that the young center had been doing better over the summer and then suffered a setback prior to training camp. You go over to what exactly it was that Turcotte had to deal with and the reason why he was even placed onto the injury reserve to start off the year. We actually made a video earlier in 2022 going over the very unfortunate hit that Turcotte suffered with the Ontario Reign. I believe it was in their postseason run, which is why he had his start of the year cut short pretty much. If there were concussion issues remaining from that specific incident that I'm thinking about, then hey, this is kind of why you spend money on medical specialists and professional trainers to help your guys recover and prosper in the ways that they can, healthily, of course. During this entire time, the up and down process, playing with the Reign, playing with the Kings, not doing too well with the Kings, going back to the Reign, I always did believe in Alex Turcotte, and there isn't really anything that I've seen so far that kind of contradicts that. Sure, you could say, oh, he's gotten off to a slow start in the NHL so far, but that's okay. You got guys that take a little bit longer to develop than others, and especially when it comes to two-way capable centers, it's not really like them to make the transition right away and become superstars in the ways that some of their other counterparts could. Like, I know Turcotte was taken from the NTDP, and look who else was from the NTDP that year. Jack Hughes, Cole Caulfield, Trevor Zegras, these guys are stars in the NHL right now. But none of these guys were the two-way center, high-intensity, high-effort level, just a good all-around player like Turcotte, while also having the same offensive production that he was able to do with the NTDP as well. Sure, you might have guys like Boldy who excel in the wing and who also play two-way efficient games, but with the LA Kings, I mean, a lot of y'all fans from the Kings know what it's like to wait for a center to develop and become good. You saw this with Gabe Vilardi literally 2 years prior to Turcotte. He was taken in 2017, Turcotte was 2019, and only now has Vilardi really started to show off that he is a bona fide NHL player, one of the best even-strength point producers in the league right now. And it took a while, and that's okay. So for Alex Turcotte, just give the guy some time to develop. We're waiting for him to be cleared and actually suit up in the Ontario Reign system once again. And when he does, he most likely will be joined by a familiar face, because QUINTON BYFIELD is also talked about here in this article, and even though he's got 3 points in 8 games played with the LA Kings this season, do the math on that, 3 divided by 8 multiplied out by 82, he's on pace for 30.75 points. This is what Mayor's Manor writes about when it comes to QB, as dubbed by Snoop Dogg. We've also gathered a few tidbits on status of fellow prize prospect QUINTON BYFIELD. After being a late scratch Thursday, October 27th versus Tampa, the 20-year-old center has been sidelined with what is ascribed to be flu-like symptoms. To date, he has now missed 5 games with the Kings, and Saturday versus Florida will be Game 6. Byfield is set to resume skating imminently following some light off-ice activities the past few days. Of further interest is the possibility of what will come next. From what we understand, a conditioning assignment with the Ontario Reign is not out of the question, while technically it would not be an official conditioning assignment because he is waiver exempt. However, that's pretty much what it would be. There's also an update at the end of the article. On November 6, early Sunday, the Kings officially assigned Byfield to the AHL's Ontario Reign. After completing a 2-game series in Colorado over the weekend, the Reign returned to the ice this coming Thursday with the San Jose Barracuda. Now, for QUINTON BYFIELD, this is going to be a pretty interesting showcase of talent, I guess, because he has played with the Ontario Reign quite a bit over the past few years. The first season he had 20 points in 32 games played. Last season, he had 6 points in 11 games played, but he was primarily an NHL point producer over there. This time around, he is coming back from a little bit of a sickness. He had a pretty good point production pace in the NHL, and now in the Ontario Reign, alongside of Alex Turcotte, hopefully this is really going to be his time to shine. If there is an opportunity for him to go out there and showcase to all of us that he is ready, he is poised, and he is here, it's now with the Ontario Reign. Obviously, I'm not really expecting Byfield to go out there and light the AHL on fire because he's just coming back from flu-like symptoms, but if he's able to go out there and play confidently, maybe round himself out with at the very least a point every game and a half, there should be a lot of confidence going around with QUINTON BYFIELD, especially if the intent here is to play him in Ontario and then bring him back up to the NHL. As with Alex Turcotte, I still do believe very heavily in QUINTON BYFIELD, and I do think this guy could become the 90-point player that we all thought he was going to be when he was drafted back in 2020. There's a reason he had been touted like this for years, an absolute unicorn, a big ballerina with hands and offensive IQ skills to burn. Even though he was a monster that could probably play a power forward style if you told him to, QUINTON BYFIELD excelled because he played a very good finesse game, because he was so good offensively with his light puck touches, and he had the offensive mind, the IQ, the playmaking to complement that. I still do think that those types of assets don't go away, even if you end up experiencing a flu. So for QUINTON BYFIELD, I mean, he's been transitioning well, I would say, for the past few years. Sure, it takes a while, but as we had seen with Gabe Vilardi, there still is a lot of development time that these guys have available to them before they really do become stars. Not everybody can be Connor McDavid, not everybody can be Jack Eichel or Austin Matthews or Patrick Laine. You do have some players, especially in recent years, that have taken a little bit of extra time to develop and become great. So for Alex Turcotte and QUINTON BYFIELD, two guys that I still really do believe in to hell and back, I really want to see them explode this year. I want to see 2022-2023 being the year where they put a stranglehold on their development and they say, yeah, we're on the right path. Don't worry about us. Because I know you could say, okay, well, with Turcotte, there are guys taken after him. I mean, Moritz Seider was taken immediately after Turcotte, and he's really good. And Vasily Podkolzin is an NHL player. Cole Caulfield is a goal-a-game guy, pretty much. Okay, I'm exaggerating there, but you know what I mean. And, of course, I guess you could say with Byfield, there are similar things. Oh, you should have taken Stützle. Stützle's really good, and Byfield is getting sent down to the AHL, man. It was a wrong decision, wrong decision. At the end of the day, these things require patience. And I think Gabe Vilardi, as I said, I keep on nailing down that Vilardi point because I really do love Gabe Vilardi, as you probably could have told from the video we had made about him last week. But if Gabe Vilardi could do it, Kings fans, y'all should be used to this by now. It's not going to be right away. Just give it some time. So tell me in the comments your thoughts about either of these two guys, Turcotte and or Byfield, as well as what you've seen out of them so far and what you're expecting out of them in 2022-2023. Do you think they're going to be mainstay NHL guys? Do you think Turcotte is going to end off his season on the Reign? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Juraj 99, and bye.